Hello, Yaksha here. I hope you guys are having a great day. If not, I hope this little video I make can somewhat cheer you up or at least distract you from the noisy world out there. The ultimate goal stay the same. I'm gonna try my best to improve on each videos that I post. So for this one, the goal is the same as last one. Talk a bit faster, adding personality, and make sure the tone between cuts stay consistent. That's a new one, folks. Alright, let's head in. Beidou is a 4-star Claymore unit. She capable of being both main DPS and sub DPS in a team due to her consistent electro application and great scaling with her elemental burst. The better you are, the brighter Beidou shine. Beidou had a pretty high skill cap due to her elemental skill. Depending on how consistent and precise you are with it, the more damage and energy you generate with her elemental skill. Her elemental skill, Tai Call, is where a good Beidou and a great Beidou are separated. This ability can be tapped or hold. When tapped, deal AoE electro damage to nearby enemies. When hold, Beidou lift her sword to block incoming damage, seeking a shield that scales off her max HP and has 250% electro damage absorption efficiency. What makes this ability really special is when you unleash the skill after it blocks certain number of attacks or perfect counter an attack. Let me explain. In Razor language, when Beidou blocked an attack with her sword during her skill, she would then do massive electro damage when she released her skill. Now, depending on how many times she got hit, the more damage it will does when released. Not how much damage it blocked, it's how many times it blocked. There are 3 levels of damage. First is tap, base damage. Second is blocking 1 attack when hold. And last is blocking 2 attacks when hold.
Eyes on me!
Stormbreaker. Beidou Elemental Burst is quite simple and easy to use. When activate active character normal and charge attack, we create lightning discharge that can jump between opponents, dealing electro damage. Stormbreaker also increase the active character resistance to interruption and decrease damage taken. Her first ascension, Retribution, when unlocked, it will let you immediately deal level 3 damage with your elemental skill without holding nor getting hit with at least 2 attacks. But you could tap it when you are about to get hit. For nerds out there, it's roughly around 20 frames. This here is called perfect counter. Overall, elemental skill is a valuable DPS tool. Elemental burst is a simple yet powerful ability, but it had a high energy requirement, 80 to be specific. Therefore, landing or counters with your elemental skill correctly is crucial. With all that being said, the recommendation is to max out elemental burst, then skill. If you are using her as main DPS, then level up her normal attacks. If you are using her as a sub DPS, then no need for such. Okay, I like how the previous guy went, so I'm gonna use the same templates as last time. I can set some guidelines before getting specific. Yes, Beidou need a lot of ER for her burst, but spoiler, I highly recommend you to pair her with another Electro unit. Therefore, ER isn't her biggest priority here. Attack and crit is. For the 5 stars, the list include Greystone, Redhorn, Unforged, and Skyward. For the 4 stars, we had Serpent, Akuo Maru, Sea Lord, Lethec, Sacrificial, Blackcliff, Prototype, and Ring Slasher. For the 3 star, we had Debate and Bloodtaint. The recommendation is either Gravestone, Serpent, Akuo Maru, or Sea Lord. You either put Gravestone on Beidou or just fully invest on one of the 4 stars recommended weapon. With refinements, they easily outshine the 5 stars. Special shout out to Serpent and Akuo Maru. Just like any other sub DPS, with an amazing ult with insane energy requirement. 4-piece Emblem of Serpent Fate is my recommendation for Beidou. It gives you 20% ER for the 2-piece and 25% extra damage on bursts for the 4-piece. Sounds perfect to me. Other alternative option will be shown right now. You're using 2-piece x 2-piece combination when you had a very good pieces of 2 different sets, or just lazy to farm for emblem, to be honest. But I recommend you to have an attack buff unit in a party if you're planning on running 2x2. Other sets like Thunder Suitor or Thunder Fury is very situational. For Suitor, you need a team with good electro uptime, and for Fury, this is only available in an accurate team with Beidou as main DPS. With the artifact sets being done, we're gonna get a bit deeper into the scene and start talking about main stats for each piece. For Flower and Feather, nothing too crazy to talk about, so let's just jump to her Sams. The more difficult part. I say it's difficult, but it's really not. Just the rest is so chill, but for her Sams, you need at least 1 brain cells. Therefore, the word difficult were used. Anyway, for Sans, the option is attack percentage or ER. Recommendation is attack percentage, since over 90% of the time you're gonna do much greater damage with it. And you're probably gonna pair Beidou with another electro unit, therefore the ER Sans would be overkill. Just simply look for ER in the substats. For the Gauntlet, we will be using elemental damage bonuses, and for the Circlet, we're gonna be using crit. Whether it's rate or damage gonna depend on your overall stats and weapons. Overall, you want ER percentage, crit, attack percentage, and EM for your substat in that order. At the end of the day, the goal for Captain Beidou is to have at least 50% crit rate and around 100% crit damage. Her ER will be fluctuate from 140% to an unholy number of 290%. Yep, no joke. Now, how to decide? In Razor language. Beidou alone. Beidou need 180 to 240. If hold or perfect counter, 1 or 2 times. 240 to 290 if tap, 1 or 2 times. Beidou with other electro. Beidou need 120 to 140. If hold or perfect counter, 1 or 2 times. 140 to 160 if tap, 1 or 2 times. Beidou Constellation are worth getting. In Razor language, C1, nah, just kidding. C1 create a shield when burst is used. C2 burst will jump to 2 extra targets. C3 damage buff on skill. C4 when Beidou is attacked, gain an instant of 20% electro damage for 10 seconds. C5 damage buff on burst, and C6 surrounding enemies resistant to electro is reduced by 50% when ult is activated. The recommendation for sub DPS is C2 and C6. For main DPS, then you have C4 into it, so C2, C4, and C6. Moving to the available elemental reactions. For a unit that is capable of applying electro like Beidou, she is available in any electro related elemental reactions, such as Hyper Bloom, Quicken, Activate, Spread, Superconduct, Electro Charge, and Overloaded. I recommend to build teams around Activate, Hyper Bloom, and Electro Charge. For Activate, you will need 1 or 2 units that can apply danger, or just 1 unit that's very consistent at it. For this role, we had Nahida, Ether, Looming, Kali, and Yao Yao. And like I said before, I highly recommend you to pair Beidou with another Electro units. So, in this team, this unit can be the main DPS or another sub-DPS. Units like Sino, Kaching, Fischl, and Ye Miko are up for the job. For the support unit, it can be anything but Hydro and Pyro. Recommend support with attack buff, EM buff, or VV artifact sets. For Hyper Bloom, units like Ohatum and Tignari will be added to the previous list of danger units. For Hydro applications, Xingzhou, Yelan, Kokumi, and Ayato are good options. You can top it off with Fischl, Kukishinobu, or even Dori. Oh, and right into the EM one. Electro Charge is more of a classic one, so this shouldn't be too complicated. Electro units like Kaching, Sino, Fischl, Yamiko, Lisa are your options, pairing with list of Hydro units I just mentioned earlier. For the support unit, it can be something like Venti, Sucro, Zhongli, or Kazuha. Alright, a bit of a gameplay. Sorry for the potato, Kumpudar.
Illusion shatter. Propagate. To ashes.
Scatter. Wicker.
Shine down. Propagate.
Oh,
The world will
Scatter. Exterminate. Propagate. Eyes on me.
sit.
Spring forth. Scatter. Power that ended life.
The process of elimination.
There is no escape. Exterminate. Scatter. Eyes on me.
Diffract.
And that's it for another guy. Hopefully I shown some improvement in this guy and successfully cheer your day up just by a little bit, even if it's just 1%, to be honest. But with all that being said, goodbye. Until next time, traveler.